Well, thank you for that welcome. I think an apology is in order to begin with. So John and I have known each other for years. We've been on Sky at Night together. John is an expert amateur astronomer, which means he's looked through a telescope. But we've been trying for years to think about what we might do, and we're plotting a sort of radio podcast series, very formal kind of thing, where we talk to the great and the good about issues, scientific issues of the day. And so what we've got here is the first episode. You can see it's a work in progress, so we're going to perform that for you.
Very nice description and summing up.
Yeah.
That is perfect.
I mean, that's for long, I think you could argue, but I think they've got the idea now. So I'm just going to speak to those who will be listening, the listener, if you will, and I hope you enjoy it. So welcome to this, the National Astronomy Meeting. I'm Chris Lintott, and the first thing we have to clear up is the distinction that so many of the people in the street still get wrong. The difference between astronomy and, of course, astrology. Astronomy being the study of everything that exists in outer space, especially through the modern science of astrophysics, the positions, the dimensions, the distribution, the motion, the composition, the formation, and the evolution of both celestial bodies and the universe in which they exist, as opposed to astrology, which is bollocks. We're here today to consider the state of astronomy in the future, and the big question is, what will astronomy be like in the decades to come? And in particular, we want to think about whether we'll ever discover life elsewhere in our solar system or in the wider universe. Some people say that finding life out there in the cosmos may be impossible, but you cannot deny it's been an object of fascination for decades, if not millennia. And here, for example, we're going to play an excerpt from an edition of The Sky at Night, in which Patrick Moore talks about the possibility of life on other worlds as they thought about it back in the 1960s.
A very good evening, and hey there, Daniel. I'm here together with all you crazy cats about life on other planets, man. What a well-wicked concept. Space is a trip, man, and so are these mushrooms that John Lennon gave me. Indeed, like all far out and groovy. There might not be any intelligent life out there, and of course, that would be a bummer and heavy. But on the other hand, perhaps there is, and that would be very groovy indeed. So, don't let the chrome dome squares get you down, gabbing about us being alone. You keep on trucking, and maybe some little green dudes will visit our pad, and we shall be partying on in a most awesome manner. As long as those little green dudes don't hit on any of my groovy chicks, otherwise there'll be a short trip to Bomberville. Stay funky, head cats. Peace out. Good night.
So David Attenborough, you were head of BBC during that unusual broadcast. How on earth did The Sky at Night come about?
Well, yes, the first controller of BBC television used to fall asleep in his armchair, watching the speaker with a bottle of whiskey. So with the great foresight that controllers had in those days, he commissioned a show which came on at about 1 o'clock in the morning with a loud, stirring theme tune to wake him up and send him off to bed.
Excellent, thank you for clearing that up. But while you're here, you've made a lot of documentaries about life on Earth. How do you feel about the possibility of life not on Earth?
Well, as I've discovered, there is a quite astonishing diversity of life across the planet Earth. So surely it must follow that that diversity is replicated exponentially throughout the wider universe.
That makes sense.
Who knows, out there might be a natural history correspondent just like me, lying in an alien jungle in a rather fetching safari suit, whispering very quietly, crapping himself, will not tear his nuts off. Or on another far-flung world, perhaps it's the penguins who go home after a day's work to slump on the sofa with their dinner and watch documentaries about me sliding around on my stomach, having a bath and attempting to mate.
Now there's a thought we can all take home. So then, if you were head of the BBC now, what would you do regarding the coverage of space?
Well, I certainly wouldn't hire long-haired layabouts like Brian Cox, wandering around looking dreamy and pointing at stuff. want to see hippies investigating things badly, I'll watch Scooby-Doo. No, it wasn't like that in the 1970s. I can tell you, we were hardcore. I had the ruddy open university. In my day, someone on your television told you very complicated things very quickly in a strange, garbled voice at 6:15 in the morning, and if you couldn't follow it, you'd have to ring up the BBC to apologise. I predict that astronomy programmes will be increasingly dumbed down, with ever more pointless celebrities trying to sound like they know things.
No, I can't believe that, Sir David. I know the BBC, and they would never do a thing like that.
You're watching BBC One, and now it's time for our brand new science show. A ruddy, great sciencey look at the sky and all that stuff with John Bishop.
All right, then, welcome to the sky and all that stuff. With me, John Bishop. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to blind you there. I forgot to send me teeth to low beam. Today we're asking the big questions about the universe. Is time travel possible? And will it have to be done in a DeLorean driven by Doc Brown being chased by Libyan terrorists? Or could I be back to 1983 to snog me ma in a Ford Escort with me mate Charlie being chased by the local coppers because he's a daft git who's got no tax or insurance? The moon! John Bishop, where's I'm going to do that again? The moon! How will NASA's plans to have a permanent colony there by 2020 affect the indigenous clanger population? I have in the studio with me here Buzz Aldrin. Buzz, you went to the moon! And you just put up one flag. That's not really making an effort, is it? My mate's got 23 Brazil flags taped to the front of his house right now, and he's never even been.
So moving on, if we expect to find life on other planets, what type of life will it be? After all, other planets in the solar system are completely different from ours. Mars, for example, has not a single branch of Wetherspoons. To explain, Alan Bennett.
Indeed so, Lintott Minor. What is most salient about all the facts gleaned from our studies is that one afternoon on Venus is the length of 124 Earth days. Imagine an afternoon of such impressive duration. Putting that into language we Earth people understand, that means we'd have to consume 5,982 cups of tea and 15,012 cream-filled biscuits just to get to the end of one afternoon. We'd have to sigh wistfully 83,000 times and watch 8 million versions of the Go Compare advert, sandwiched in the middle of 130 editions of Countdown.
So bearing that in mind, any life we find in the solar system would have to be different from ours. For example, the atmosphere of Venus has been discovered to be completely, or almost entirely, composed of carbon monoxide gas, not conducive to life, and I think everyone would agree.
So says you, nerd boy. Woof! I fail to see the drawback in breathing in carbon monoxide all day. I went to the countryside once, and a lungful of fresh air and nearly suffocated. I had to clamp my lips to the tailpipe of a Nissan Micra just to survive. The only thing I consider to be a noxious emission is every word that comes out of James May's mouth.
Well, course, space programs have always been, and exploration has always been a nationalistic affair. The first official British space program began in 1959 with the Ariel series of satellites. It was followed by a much more successful British program, which began in November 1963, Doctor Who.
Yes. Yes. There's more from me later. Don't go anywhere.
In 2011, we saw the establishment of the UK Space Agency, which is considering funding a single-stage spaceship, Skylon, and an ambitious and yet strangely popular scheme to place Richard Branson into permanent orbit around it. But of course, with the financial crisis and the recession, there's always the risk of savage funding cuts for British science. Isn't that right, Boris?
Yes, I've got to get up that. No, I completely agree with you. The recession has meant that everyone has had to jolly well tighten their belts, and that includes the known universe. Yes. Had to mothball some very good constellations, which is very sad, of course. And of course, champagne corks would be popping if Britain put an astronaut on the moon. Sadly, austerity has meant thus far Britain cannot afford to put an astronaut onto the moon, but on the positive side, we are committed to putting gravity onto BBC One on Christmas Day by 2023.
Labour also admits that budgets would be stretched. Ed Miliband.
Yeah, look, Chris, I love space. Given my dismal opinion poll figures, what wouldn't I love about a place where no one can hear you scream? Crumbles the floor and falls soft bitter tears. Look, hard decisions have been made. Obviously, I'd like to visit my people on my home planet more often. Oh dear, I think already I've said too much. That's right. I'm not an alien, here to study your species. I'm a normal envelope who likes singing games of football with the lads, nights down the pub, drinking pints of cheese.
No, listen, it's all very well joking about politicians paying attention to space, but seriously, UKIP's policy at the last general election was to abolish the European Space Agency and replace it with something more British. Nigel Farage.
Now, look, sunshine, people like you, with your fancy brains and your heads full of unnecessary thoughts, so UKIP's space policy was written on the back of a fact packet. That's a load of rubbish. It was written on the back of a packet of ball scratchings. Why should we be funding NASA when we all know for a 100% fact that the moon landings were faked and actually were staged in a room with no atmosphere, the smug bar of the old Red Line in Hackney? UKIP is committed to building a British space shuttle so that we can boldly go where no man in mustard trousers has gone before. Who knows? How many planets out there have their own president time that I could appear on every week? Look, I'm no racist. I have nothing against little green men coming to this country. As long as they speak English, drive Morris Minors and wear tweed jackets.
I asked space scientist Maggie Adair-Pocock how realistic a British space shuttle would be.
But of course, this would be a highly sophisticated scientific endeavour. On a par with such groundbreaking technological work as artificial intelligence, stem cell research, and the Gillette Mach 5 shaver. They took the concept to 4 planes, then added one more. Genius! Now, as a science enabler, I try to explain science simply. Just imagine, if you can, all the abandoned shopping trolleys in Britain, laid end to end.
So that would represent the runway that the space shuttle would need to take off.
No, that would be the British Space Shuttle. Let the Patent strap an more motor to it, and we'd have the most powerful British spacecraft this side of Tracy Island.
Thank you, Maggie. Now, when most people think of science and the universe on the BBC, they think of one attractive, floppy-haired young man.
Yes, very good. Keep the compliments rolling in. Yes, hello. It's me, the Doctor. No, not the new one. No, the proper one.
the new one, he's a bit too swirly for you lovely people. Did you all enjoy me on the 50th anniversary special? You know, I really thought you might. Yes, I knew you were watching. Yes, especially, yes, there you are, you, yes. Didn't we once travel in space and time together? To a travelogue of the A49 in Cirencester? Maybe that was Davros, he's a frisky bugger after a couple of quarters of
No, Doctor, no. I was talking, of course, about Professor Brian Cox, the thinking woman's Robbie Savage. The thinking woman's Robbie Savage.
And Chris, when you contemplate the universe, the actual universe, universing out there in space, like a universal space, you just have to marvel at how awesomely, gigantically, amazingly, stupendously,
Oh, for God's sake, put a sock in it, you great pop-out knob jockey. Yes, it's big. Is that what you're trying to say?
big. The universe is humongous. To give you a sense of the size, I could fit almost half of my ego into the name. And yet so far, no life has been detected anywhere else in our solar system, which is mind-blowing when you think that there could be hundreds of planets out there in the universe that could support intelligent life. Or failing that, the cast of Made in Chelsea. Mars! Of course, we know so much more about the red planet thanks to the Curiosity lander. Since it touched down in 2012, it has traversed thousands of miles back and forth across the planet, looking for a Starbucks with a Wi-Fi signal. The lander has analysed hundreds and hundreds of rocks, but NASA says we shouldn't be scared of the rocks that it's got. It's still rover from the block. There is water that could sustain life under the barren crust of Europa. And more will be known about that desolate, barren, inhospitable place when FIFA holds the 2028 World Cup. And you can forget life on Venus. Any traveller to Venus would be boiled, melted, crushed, and dissolved within a few seconds. A bit like someone in a Manchester United shirt getting off the bus in Newcastle. So to find life on other planets, we'll need to travel beyond our solar system. Of course, Voyager, which was launched from Earth in 1977, is already in interstellar space. Alien beings that come across the craft will learn a great deal about us from the payload that it carries. 3 episodes are on the buses, a Chas and Dave album, and a pint of Watney's Red Barrel, and Charlie Drake. But as long as mankind can dream, we will continue to explore the galaxy.
Oh, yes. Yes, we will. Because mankind has an insatiable appetite for exploration. Seeing beyond our daily humdrum existence and looking out into the night sky illuminated with billions of stars. For in that, yes, gravity, yes. For in that endless inky blackness lies knowledge, lies inspiration, lies mankind's future. And it is that good, noble, and honoured quest to secure mankind's future, that desire to grasp the unknown in both hands. That is the reason that I, the Doctor, shall forever travel through the stars. That and the fact that I owe Leela nearly 23 grand in child support payments. And if I don't cough up my Christmas, the CPS say they'll impound the TARDIS and put canine in kennels. Interfering gits. Toodle pip for now.
Thank you.